Hey gang, welcome back for another episode of Mrs. Harlow's Quarantine Reads Summer Reading Edition, where I talk to you about what I've been reading while we're on summer break. Today's quarantine read is an absolute monstrosity of a book called The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. Coming in at just over 800 pages, this is an epic fantasy in the truest sense of the definition. We've got dragons and magic and religion and politics and a whole new giant world that's full of its own folklore and history and legends. I mean, take a look. This is just one of the maps. There's more than one map. It's a big book with a big world. It had been on my list to read for a really long time, mainly because it was incredibly intimidating to me. I usually keep lists, like I have a goal of how many books to read in a year, and there's just not time to read an 800-page book when I need to read 40 books this year. But I made time this summer, and I'm really, really happy I did. It's slow up front, but it's really good, especially if you enjoy alternate world settings where we're in a whole new world with its own religions and politics and all of that world building. It's very, very good. But what it's about is there is a kingdom where the queen, there's always a queen, the queen always bears a daughter, and as long as that bloodline sits in the throne, then the evil dragon will remain asleep and the world will be safe. But the current queen has refused to take a husband and has not had an heir yet, and the evil dragon is beginning to awaken. Things are getting tense. That's one side of the world. On the other side of the world is a woman who has become one of the few people in her world who ever become dragon riders. And so she has broken one of their laws and is worried that it will ruin her chances to become a dragon rider and that they'll find out and she will lose everything she's fought so hard for. There's a couple other characters. There's 4 main viewpoint characters, and they all live in different parts of the world, and it's very, very fascinating because at the beginning of the book, they're all very separate. None of them know each other that you are aware of, and they are on opposite sides of the world. But as the story continues, you get to watch, almost in slow motion, watch all these pieces weave together until they all come together in the end over one common goal. I will warn anyone who wants to read this, it is slow, as most epic fantasies are, especially first epic fantasies in a series. My understanding is that this is a standalone book, but that Shannon might be writing more stories in the world, which would make sense. There's a lot of world we don't see even in this book. And so world building takes time, and when it's a world as fleshed out and detailed as this one, it takes a lot of time. So while it's slow to get moving plot-wise, the character development is very good. At no point was I bored, and I kind of enjoyed languishing in the first half of the book. It wasn't compelling, like I wasn't forced to pick it up, but every time I did pick it up, I enjoyed the time I spent there. So I would recommend it. Content-wise, this is advanced fiction for sure, but I don't feel like there's anything in it that is incredibly adult in nature. It pulls a lot on legends and stories and folklore from our world, and so there's a lot of like Beowulf and Arthurian legend. There's also a lot of Japanese and Chinese culture that's been pulled from to create the worlds here. So I found that really fascinating, where you could kind of see the layers and the inspirations. This book was fascinating. I can't wait to read more books set in this world. But it was an undertaking. It took me the entire month of May to read. So, the entire month, guys. I usually read a book a week. A whole month. That's a long time for me. So make sure you've got plenty of time to enjoy and absorb. You don't want to try and speed read your way through an epic fantasy like this. You're going to miss details that are going to be important. Make sure to take your time. I don't really know what else to say about this book, actually, except can we talk about the cover just a little bit? Look at this cover. Look at how beautiful it is. Like, in the dragon, you can feel its scales. Like, it's embossed. It's all shiny. Yeah, it's a gorgeous book. Front, back, center. It's a really lovely book. So yeah, I think that's all I've got to say about it. We don't own it. Unless someone requests it, we probably won't own it. I don't see it circulating a lot. But, you know, if someone really wants it, maybe I'd pick it up for our library. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Priory of the Orange Tree today. Yeah, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you're up to. And we'll be back soon with another quarantine read.